becomes a memorable experience. That is what the Machiavellian is all about. Perception law. It has nothing to do with pretending to be someone else. It's about gaining such profound self-mastery that people are unable to avoid feeling your presence. There's no need to chase, you don't need to persuade, you only have to represent silence. And individuals, especially women, will be drawn to it as composure is not a sign of weakness. It's mastery. The rarest kind is mastery of power, the power of strategic emotion. An intriguing concept can be found in psychology known as intermittent reinforcement. Researchers from places like Stanford and Harvard found that increasing incentives arrive at random times. They really strengthen emotional ties compared to when they arrive in a conventional predicted trend. Consider it. When you're unsure of anything, your thoughts remains vigilant. You're curious about what will occur. Next, you are drawn in by that tension. Machiavelli was aware of this well before science did. He realized that to stay desired and esteemed, an individual should be less predictable at times. Attention is maintained by mystery. As of today, a lot of males act in the other way. They provide too soon, everything was gone. Their attention, feelings, approval, and availability. They take out all the story's tension. But tension is what sustains attraction. It's the heartbeat of desire. A man with Machiavellian features doesn't engage in juvenile games. He performs rhythms. He understands the dance of human feeling. He is aware of when to stay warm, and when to exhibit, and when to be silent, interest, and knowing when to back off. Every action is intentional. Each and every silence serves a purpose. This has nothing to do with manipulation. It has to do with equilibrium. It's about sustaining polarity, the natural tension that exists between two forces. Due to a spark cannot exist without polarity. When a man demonstrates that his feelings are not governed by others, that he doesn't require ongoing approval, something shifts in his perception by others. His attention begins to feel valuable, uncommon, even sacrosanct. Additionally, when something turns into sacrosanct, people respect it with reverence. They pursue it, they safeguard it, they want to be near to it. This doesn't imply being aloof or frigid for no reason rationale. It entails being aware of emotions' timeliness, being aware that warmth loses its power when it's constantly accessible. When you display emotion with mindfulness and strength, your emotions become more significant. There's gravity in your presence. The suppressing emotions is not the secret, rather to direct it. To express things in a way that sustains curiosity. Attraction stems from curiosity. When someone is unable to accurately forecast you, they have to continue observing, listening, wondering. That awe turns into relationship. That link turns into desire. Thus, learn to control your emotions. Energy similar to that of a talented musician's sound. In rhythm rather than all at once. Give meaning to the quiet. Allow distance provide depth. Give your feelings some space rather than overflow. Because when your heart becomes self-directed and steady, it will be felt by others. They'll detect that the world does not revolve around you, their consent. And in that silent strength, they'll discover something magnetic. Ultimately, strategic emotion is not regarding being chilly. It's about being in command over your warmth. It's concerning being aware that your emotions are a gift and that not everyone is deserving of them, freely. Once you've mastered this equilibrium, you no longer plead to be noticed. It demands attention by nature. Moreover, that is the real strength of strategic feeling. She sacrifices everything for him. Let's discuss him. The man who creates her, put an end to her actions and make full payment. Focus. The loudest person in the room isn't him. He makes no effort to establish himself. He doesn't pursue, plead, or flaunt his worth. He goes confidently and quietly. Like a gently building storm, undetected, until it's already altered everything. He poses a threat, but not in a harsh manner. His threat originates from autonomy. He is not a man who needs anything in order to be whole, and she feels that way on the inside, even if she is unable to describe it. The odd strength of a man who might completely adore her yet would still be complete without her. That equilibrium between intense emotion and emotional autonomy produces something magnetic. It draws her in. It causes her to put aside her distractions, her uncertainties, and her defenses. She doesn't pursue him because he insists on it. She approaches because she senses his seriousness. He doesn't verbal or physical control. He is in charge. By vigor, composure, concentration, and steadiness. She can know by his presence that he lives for anything greater than acceptance or ease. He follows his mission rather than impulse. He is aware of his desires, but he never hesitates to abandon what doesn't fit that route. Such a man is uncommon. The majority of people attempt to fill their emptiness with focus. He fills his with guidance and discipline. He does not equate passivity with serenity. His composure does not imply that he is emotionless. It implies that he is in control of his emotions. When she feels secure being close to him, yet not bored, awake but grounded. His quiet has greater weight than other terms. He doesn't look for approval, they observe. His touch connects rather than clings. He provides warmth without losing his core. And the secret is that he doesn't request to be the focal point of her existence. He just becomes it due to his consistent energy, self-sufficient and robust. She begins to reflect that silence. Her disorder softens in his presence. Her thoughts become calm. Her feelings find a beat. It's not magic. Alignment is the cause. When a man is firmly established in intent, tranquil, and concentrated, he doesn't need to pursue in person. He draws people in not by coercion, but by regularity. He is the serenity she craved, you know. The mystery she is unable to solve quite nicely. The man capable of loving her profoundly, yet would remain upright if she left. Additionally, that comparison, that softness encased in strength, is what causes her to abandon everything. Not for him, not for his appearance, but for his vitality. The silent tempest that must yell in order to be heard. That's the she sacrifices everything for this man. The distance as a Machiavellian's secret desire. Machiavelli reportedly remarked, It's better to be feared than liked if you cannot be both. In the modern world, the significance has changed. Fear is no longer the issue. Respect is at issue. Due to the fact that in contemporary partnerships, it's preferable to be first revered, then adored via that deference. The distance between a man and misunderstood. People interpret it as pride, emotionalism, or coldness separation. However, distance is actually a test. It subtly shows who appreciates his presence. It divides people who only seek solace from those who genuinely desire him. When a woman senses his absence, she feels something stirring within of her. She maintains its interest. She turns into wondering. She begins to question where his attention has vanished, what's on his mind, what he's doing, and the reason behind her abrupt misses the things that she used to take for granted. Curiosity is a serious matter. It is the unseen thread that fuels emotions. It sustains desire. It maintains the mind and the heart reaching ahead, weaving tales. Due to the human, the heart does not truly desire what it recognizes. It longs for what it is unable to pretty well figure out. That is the strength of distance. Not using silence as a form of punishment, but quiet that makes room for creativity. A Machiavellian man is aware of this comes naturally to me. He doesn't overshare. He doesn't give an explanation for every action or feeling. He is aware that when excessive explanation eliminates the mystery, that sustains the bond. Rather, he lets her creativity run wild. He leaves delicate edges, tiny spaces, questions that remain unaddressed. Since the mind, it hurries to fill the void because it despises it. Additionally, when it occupies that area with dream, the feelings intensify more than any rational argument could. Fantasy is the most potent type of desire. It enables individuals to fall in love, not only with yourself, but also with whom they think you could be. Additionally, that conviction, that envisioned potential is what sustains attraction for a long time. Words deteriorate. He doesn't necessarily play games. It indicates that he appreciates his vitality, sufficient to avoid giving it all out at once. He recognizes that mystery isn't manipulation, it's self-respect, expressed by exercising restraint. When a man maintains his distance with composed assurance, he does not alienate others. He extends an invitation people to approach on their own terms. It's no longer out of the question when they do need, but from a sincere desire. That's the secret of Mashaviv. Not fear, not supremacy, not control, but separation utilized intentionally. Due to the fact that in that distance, interest increases. In that curiosity and feeling are aroused. Additionally, in that when one awakens, love takes on a deeper form, rather than coziness. It turns into respect, enchantment, and loyalty. A man who recognizes this and doesn't pursue focus, he turns into its focal point, not by making noise, but by not being present with strength. Distance becomes desire in this way, the stoic edge. In order to have actual authority, emotional sovereignty must be learned first. The capacity to remain composed and whole regardless of what occurs outside of you. It implies that you cannot purchase your tranquility with your call. Worth and attention cannot be negotiated with consent. You're steady, even when the outside world tugs at your feelings. Here, Stoicism and meet Machiavellianism. The serene surface and the strategic intellect below it. One provides you with authority, while the other guidance. Together, they create a man who is calm but astute, kind but unwavering. You're kind, but you never lose your center. You pay attention, but you never develop an addiction to the reaction. You care, yet you remain upright. That's emotional control, fortitude encased in serenity. The majority of men mistake sensitivity for control with coldness and weakness. The stoic edge, however, is neither. It's a compromise between reason and passion. Cooperate. You experience everything, but nothing moves you that doesn't fulfill your mission. That's what divides the man pursuing from the man with a choice. The person who pursues looks for approval. The person who makes the decision already feels content with himself. Moreover, women's intense emotions and intuition is able to recognize that distinction without saying anything. They sense the man, who requires care in order to feel alive, and the man is already living by himself. The first one is flattering, the second anchors. Excitement is the first, gravity comes in second. He makes no demands to be followed. He just stands there, still so sure that everything moves around him organically. All women has encountered a man who desired her. However, there aren't many men who can just walk away, peacefully from her. The man departs with an imprint. He lingers in her mind for a while, once his presence has vanished. Not because he engaged in games, but because to his carrying himself with silent might, a serenity that cannot be phony. He is not motivated by ego. Self-respect serves as his compass. He doesn't look for attention, he gives the order, only by being in harmony. His I care energy declares, but I am whole. And the power of that sentence alone is greater, more than any expression of affection. This is the verge of Stoicism, a manner of being that combines emotion, discipline, and heart. With reason, love with restraint. It's what distinguishes reacting from reacting, between pursuing enjoyment and selecting a goal. And after a man gains, everything changes at that brink. He pauses, begging for a connection and beginning drawing it organically due to the globe. And its female inhabitants are attracted to force encased in tranquility, to warmth that is not combustible, to strength that is not shout. That's the type of dude she recalls. That's the type of dude she drops everything for. The filthy tactic, weaponized awareness. Let's be. To be honest, Machiavelli's lessons were never intended to sound romantic. It was intended to think strategically. He thought that consciousness ignorance is a cage and ignorance is a weapon. Most people spend their lives responding to their feelings. They lack comprehension of both their own and everyone else's. They refer to it as passion. However, it's frequently just bewilderment in action. The filthy tactic has nothing to do with manipulation. It's not about having fun, games, or acting cold-hearted. The idea is to use awareness as power, being able to see how others are affected by emotions and opting to behave in a controlled manner instead of impulse. As soon as you begin studying human conduct, you start to observe the unseen threads that influence choices, the desire for approval, the anxiety of rejection, the attraction of interest, the trap of insecurity, the desire for assurance. These are the strings that encourage dancing, pursue what flees, disregard what remains, question what is truthful, and yearn for the beyond. The majority of guys are imprisoned by these unseen forces. They react rather than watch. They provide rather than comprehend. They make a mistake motion for advancement and feeling for relationship. However, the Machiavellian man remains motionless long enough to observe everything. He examines the trends. He discovers the emotions' cause and effect. He observes that when individuals experience uncertainty, they strive for comfort. When they experience, they open up when spotted. When they experience, they chase, ignoring. He doesn't pull these strings carelessly. He just is aware of their existence. Additionally, since he is aware, he no longer dances to other people's music. Rhythm. Awareness weaponized that truly means not being cruel, it's lucidity. This is the location where knowing releases you from emotion slavery. You no longer play the role of the puppet. You become the spectator, the serenity, in the midst of the commotion of everyone else. Moreover, from that serenity, your presence turns into strength. You don't have to talk anymore. Excessive amount of explanation, proof, or anything. What moves people, you know? Since you have witnessed the pattern in action 1,000 times. You take intentional action, not on an